to the World Center of Racing here tonight from Daytona International Speedway for the opening race of the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series, live tonight on V-Speed. 60 laps here. It's 150 miles. You got 3 tire sets available. Not going to be too much of an issue for most of these drivers, but if you have enough accidents, you might wear the tires out. We got 2 green light checkered attempts, 80% fuel load. So this is the opening race of the series. Just 10 races. Here we go, kicking things off for the Challenger Series for Saturday Night Racing League. Green flags in the air. We're off and away. And we got cars spinning, huge pile. Logan Threlkeld with the advantage. Here goes Matthew Radford, gonna jump to the outside. It's gonna be a drag race, and Radford's gonna win it.
Wow, what a finish. Man, Radford just timed that perfectly.
He's going to come into 3 and 4 with about a half a second lead. Out of turn 4 for the final time. Across the line, it's Brian Chambliss with his first win of the season.
And Jordan Trask, and they battle it out. They're going to get side by side. They're actually running it down here. What was Philip Brewer doing? Really trying to get to the outside again. Not quite able to do it. Bryce clears him, but there goes Philip Brewer. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker is going to have no pressure from behind. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
1/1000th of a second across that line. Chuck Sweeney led that lap by. The white flag is out. Final time around for the Challenger Series at Michigan. The 2-mile speedway.
If you're Dakota Boy here, what do you do right now?
Look at the block down the backstretch.
You're going to have to send it in hard here on the bottom, but Ferrara's got the preferred line.
And they're 3-4 wide back here in the 10th position. But off in turn 4 for the final time, side by side. A door check, 3 wide for the lead. Ferrara is going to get the win at Michigan.
He's loose down there, though. He really sent it in there on the bottom here. Caleb trying to complete the pass here to grab that lead back.
A little bit of a slide job. Here comes Chuck Sweeting on his way by. Caleb Weekly, after dominating here at Bristol, is going to take the win.
We'll see them both take the high line, and he's in the back bumper of the 9.
Oh, man, I think he's going to hang on, though.
Chambliss able to hold on to it, keeps the momentum. The 44 does not have enough as Brian Chambliss takes home race number 10. Dakota Floyd finishing in the 6th position as our championship winner here tonight.
You're watching the Saturday Night Racing Challenger Series, only on V-Speed.
Hello and welcome to the SNR Challenger Series, live tonight from Richmond Raceway for the second race of the chase for the championship in the SNR Challenger Series. My name is Adam Baker. I'm joined by Jeff Wright up here in the booth, and looking forward to some short track action here in race number 2 of this chase race. Jeff, how are you looking at this race for these guys to go tonight?
Well, first, just excited to be here. This is such a fun racetrack. We've been to some tracks similar to it, like Iowa Speedway. Iowa's a little bit faster, larger sweeping corners. Richmond, a little bit smaller in terms of length, but also the corners are a little bit tighter, so a little bit more technical. So I'm excited to see these guys just, ripping it off the corners, trying to save those rear tires, because this is a track that those tend to get burned up on.
Yeah, definitely want to be able to conserve what you've got for when it matters most. We're going to have 125 laps here tonight, so decent length to this event. And again, it is the chase for the championship. So we come in here with a tight top 12 in points as the series got reset after the week before last. And Dakota Floyd with his 5 victories and the victory in race 1 of the chase has a commanding lead so far over Morgan Cook, who's got a couple victories himself. Philip Brewer, Noah Mahalski, Judson Curtis making up your top 5. And you can see the rest of the top 12 drivers as they are all trying to compete for the championship coming into tonight's race. And with just a few more races on the season, time will start to run out if Dakota Floyd continues to perform the way that he has all season long. So we'll see if he can get another victory here and sweep the first 2 races of the chase. And let's take a little bit of a peek here at the track information tonight. So Richmond Raceway, 3/4 of a mile, the length, 14-degree turns, 8-degree front banking. And this is a bit of a D oval, so that front straightaway is going to be sweeping all the way from turns 4 to turn 1. And this track's been around since 1946 and looked quite a bit different back then, but definitely a fun place to race and a staple on the NASCAR schedule as we go trackside now. And we'll see our drivers getting set up to get going here tonight. And we'll take a look at where your favorite drivers are rolling off in tonight's race. Starting on the pole, it's Morgan Cook in the 51 machine, looking to try and make up points on Dakota Floyd by starting up front. Noah Mahalski going to join him on row number 1 in that second spot. Starting in 3rd place, it'll be Caleb Weekly. Dakota Floyd rolling off from the 4th position. Starting in 5th, it's going to be Jared Skinner and Rob Hamp starting in the 6th spot. 7th tonight, Austin Belkey. 8th, Ben Laughter. Rolling off 9th, it's Jordan Trask. And Max Koss going to round out the top 10.
Starting in 11th tonight, going to be John Sanu in that 86 machine. Alongside him, it's Stephen Davis in the number 60. Starting 13th tonight, Judson Curtis, and alongside him in 14th, it's Tad Dabney. Brandon Wallace in that number 99 machine will roll off 15th, alongside Matt Shinosky in the 31. Tim Shinosky starts a row just behind in 17th. Philip Brewer starting a little bit deeper in the field than what we may have thought. Same with Bryce Shoemaker there in 19th, Christopher Hodges in 20th, and last final 2 cars, Keith Shoemaker and Hunter Sr. rounding out our field.
A good size field on a short track here, and we'll see how they get going here in the opening laps of this one. Quick peek at the weather. It's 80 degrees here in Richmond, Virginia, with a track temp of 88, so not too hot. Should be a good amount of grip in these Xfinity machines. As green flag is out, we're off and away for the SNR Challenger Chase race at Richmond. Tight battle across the stripe, and I believe Noah Mahalski was able to lead lap number 1. Morgan Cook gonna fight back down to his inside, and all clean and green so far in the first lap. Sometimes the toughest part of any of these short track races, but here comes Mahalski, gonna send it down to the inside.
Yeah, big send there by the 03 of Mahalski. He wants that lead, and he wants it right now. Looks like he might get it here as we come to take lap number 3. And Noah Mahalski riding a very, tribute type paint scheme tonight. Some sad news earlier last week. Noah Mahalski actually lost his grandma over the Memorial Day weekend, and Noah Mahalski having a little bit more to drive for tonight, you could say, and so far up 1 position as he passes the pole sitter Morgan Cook.
Yeah, no more positions to gain for him. He's at the head of the field now, and definitely heavy hearts there for Noah, and thoughts and prayers to his family as they go through this time. But definitely doing what he needs to do in the opening moments of the race, and Morgan Cook going to stay right in behind as we've got car up the track a little bit. That's Jordan Trask behind him, Stephen Davis, Judson Curtis pretty close nose to tail, and seeing a lot of cars slipping and sliding off of the corner in the opening moments of this one, Jeff.
Yeah, the track's a little bit green, so not a ton of rubber down on the racing surface, and it's in, the later afternoon. You can kind of see it's kind of starting to be golden hour. The track temp will continually drop as this night goes on, so lap times are only going to get faster, but This is probably the worst handling you're going to see these race cars all night before this track really starts to get a lot of grip. So I think this part of the race, at least this stage of the race, you certainly want to get as much track position as you can, because it's probably going to get more difficult to pass as the night goes on. But yeah, you're certainly right. This is a very loose race car and loose setup. I actually had a chance to drive this race car in the iRacing Fix Series just a handful of weeks ago. It's the exact same setup these guys are driving tonight, and it was certainly a handful.
Yeah, this can be a very tricky track. Sometimes it's very tight, but always that exit at turn 2 is the 29 of Judson Curtis, I believe. Could have been having some connection issues there. He drops to the apron, and he's going to bring it down pit road, so not sure what's going on with the 29 exactly, but we'll see if he gets back out on the racetrack. At the point, it's still Noah Mahalski and Morgan Cook, Caleb Weekly, and also Jared Skinner, Dakota Floyd making up your top 5. Here's the race analysis. Once again, 125 laps. They've got 4 sets of tires, and like you said, iRacing Fix setups. These guys all running the same setup in the cars, 80% fuel load. And that seems to maybe be affecting how the car is driving, with the back end slipping around with a little bit less fuel in it.
Yeah, and actually, you know, when you start the race like this, have all that fuel in it, the car tends to be a little bit on the looser side. And so some of the guys we had talked to, or I had at least a chance to talk with prior to this race going green tonight, you know, they said that the car was on edge. They were struggling to get the power down on exit. I think that will improve as the night goes on. We saw Noah Mahalski elect to really drive hard and get that lead early, kind of maybe thinking that clean air is going to pay off, but it does not look like Morgan Cook is going away, and he won at Iowa Speedway earlier this year. So, you know, these tracks are not, you know, they're not super different, you know, in terms of the length, and they're both short tracks, but I will say they drive a whole lot different than what you might see statistically, at least the track features. So just because Morgan Cook was able to go out and get a win at Iowa, you know, it isn't going to make it easy on him to go out here and get a win at Richmond. He's certainly going to have to earn that tonight.
Yeah, side-by-side battling for third at the moment. Jared Skinner, Caleb Weekly's going to catch the wall just a little bit right there. Didn't seem to slow him up all that much, just a little rub on the safer barrier, but he's going to stay right alongside as Skinner not quite able to complete the pass. Looks like he is clear of him now, jumps up in front of the 13, so change of hands there for the third spot. Dakota Floyd starting to close up on these as the 29 did get back on track. Judson Curtis 1 lap down, right up there in the mix inside the top 5 track position wise, but all the way back in 22nd on the scoreboard. Let's see who else. We've got battles going on a little bit further back. Still pretty much nose to tail amongst a lot of this field, but not a lot of side-by-side until you get up closer towards the front. And Morgan Cook now within a car length of the 03. Noah Mahalski pushed really hard those opening few laps. Could that be already starting to come back to bite him?
Yeah, well, Morgan's certainly not going away, and, you know, that might have been strategy. He maybe didn't want to push it as hard as Noah did right out of the gate, especially with this track being, you know, this many laps. This is going to be a lot of laps on a set of tires if this thing goes green. We can go about roughly, you know, 80, 85 laps, and, you know, if we don't have any cautions tonight and we run those types of runs here, you're going to be wishing that you saved the tires, because it's going to be a very ill-handling race car. And so far you see Morgan kind of get a little bit loose there on corner exit, spinning the tires, and it's only lap 15, so, you know, these guys really got to be mindful of saving those rear tires. That's really you know, the key to Richmond, in my opinion. You got to be able to save the rear tires to have good drive off, and if you abuse those tires a little bit too early in the run, it's going to make for a very long night.
Couple drivers making their way through the field. Philip Brewer is up 6 spots. Started back in 19th up to 13th as he put some pressure on John Sanu. And also Christopher Hodges up from 21st to 15th. We did get word that the 29 had a pass-through for a start violation, so he was laying back and got penalized. That's why he brought it down pit lane. And that has definitely cost him a lot of track position already in this race, but still in the lucky dog spot. And right now, nobody really pressing the issue on this track, though, so he's maybe not going to get a caution. Could be a long run, like you said.
Yeah, it could be a long run, but also, this is a track where you do see self-spins sometimes, especially under green flag pit stops. Trying to get down to pit lane here can be difficult. Sometimes that can be a big trouble zone. So yeah, getting a little bit spread out here, but never rule it out. Real quick though, I'm going to ask the chat, go ahead and drop your picks in the V-Speed live chat. See who you think gets it done here tonight at Richmond Raceway. And Adam, I don't think we had a chance to quite make our picks on the broadcast yet, so I'm going to put you on the spot here.
All right.
Who you got winning tonight?
You know what? I'm going to go with Dakota Floyd. He's got a lot of wins on the season. As we got a little contact here on screen, Austin Belke getting turned off the nose of Ben Laughter. They all keep it pointed in the right direction. Oh, and not anymore. There goes Belke hard in the inside wall, back up in traffic.
Oh my goodness.
Big hits. Oh my goodness. You put me on the spot and also put them all on the spot, I guess, as well. Oh boy, big hit there for Austin Belke. As we will take a look back at what happened. They make contact coming out of turn 4. He had it all collected. And I think we just got into a 3 wide situation and then more contact there and nothing. That, oh man, big hit for the 99. And Philip Brewer, I think, also getting a piece of that one. Or was that, yeah, that was the 99, I believe, or 88.
Yeah, a couple guys. Looks like Keith Shoemaker gets through unscathed, but yeah, it looks like Philip Brewer, heavy damage. Brandon Wallace gets absolutely drilled right there. He was up a few positions from his starting spot there in 15th, so tough break for him. But man, that is just when we were talking about this race getting spread out and maybe going caution free, and maybe we spoke something into existence. I don't know, but we got pit stops down here on the speedway.
Yeah, interestingly, Noah Mahalski has stayed on the racetrack. Rob Hamp also staying out. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker going to stay out as well, but everyone else has brought it down and going to take fresh Goodyear tires just about a fifth of the way into this race. There goes Dakota Floyd. Shorter pit stop, looks like right sides only. So interesting call. It gains him really just one spot on the track right now, but able to bypass everybody else who brought it down pit lane. So it could be a bold move there. We'll see.
Yeah, now you have to wonder how this restart's going to look. Now we got some cars on older tires here. That in the Challenger Series specifically, I mean, the tire set conversation has been a huge topic of concern all season long. When these guys only get 3 sets of tires, and although these races are not too long in length, if you're on a deficit of 25 lap old tires, that is a lot. And if these guys go green from here, I still don't think they can make it on fuel. But I mean, we're talking about potentially getting lapped, in the terms of the tire fall off here. If it's, could be close to almost a second a lap at this point in the run. So we'll have to see. These guys could be in big trouble here if we get a long green flag run here to the end. But that's the nice thing about, sometimes for these other drivers that might have been running towards the back or trying to get some track position, now you got some options. You got some strategy on the table to try and go get some things, as Rob Hampel joined the front row there with Noah Mahalski. Bryce Shoemaker, another one of those drivers that elected to stay out. And then I believe you said Dakota Floyd, he's on 2 tires.
Yep, 2-tire call there for the 57 Heinz machine. And then it'll be Bryce Shoemaker down to the inside on old tires. So yeah, the first 3 cars on old tires and 2 tires just for Dakota Floyd should be very interesting. You didn't get to make your pick. I picked Dakota, but he's mixing it up right now. We'll see what happens. Who do you think is going to take the victory here tonight?
Yeah, I think Noah Mahalski's obviously showing a lot of speed early. Had you not taken Dakota, I might have taken him, but I think I'm going to need a few more laps to think about this because we're going green.
Still so much time left in a race like this to find out who is going to take the win. Mahalski gets a nice jump out front. Rob Hamp under pressure now. Here comes Dakota Floyd on those 2 tires. Going to go around the outside. You can see Jared Skinner as well using the outside lane. Morgan Cook in tow. Look at the corner speed, just so much faster. As a big slide though for the 51.
And this just shows how much tires mean at a racetrack like this. And Richmond's not a super high speed short track, but the asphalt is aging and it's abrasive. So even 10, 15 laps on a set of tires is significant. You can kind of tell that right now by some of the guys that had stayed out starting to drop through the field here. But it could all work out. If we go 20 extra laps here, 25 laps, they catch a caution. Now they're kind of in the advantage. Is Morgan Cook looking for one more position here on Noah Michalski, who's just hanging on now on these old tires.
Car going around in the back. Hunter Sr. makes contact with the inside wall. We keep it green for the moment. Take a quick look at the replay of what happened here. Coming off turn number 2. The driver of the number 1 machine just gets the back end out of line and hits the left front off the inside wall. Able to keep it rolling. Right now at the back of the field in 19th as Bryce Shoemaker continues his fall from this restart. He's all the way back to 14th. So not looking like the right call necessarily for that car. As Noah Michalski still hanging on to 4th, holding off Caleb Weekly, and we'll maybe start to see the tires equalize a little bit amongst all of these guys, but definitely on this short run, look at the exit speed right there. Caleb Weekly right to the back bumper.
Yeah, and you talk about Caleb Weekly working on Noah Michalski right now, and you asked me for my pick just a little bit ago. Somebody who's pretty good at short tracks is at 13 of Caleb Weekly. He won at Bristol a season ago in the Truck Series, and the last time Saturday Night Racing was here at Richmond in this car, he scored a top 10. He got 10th in the Cup Series in Season 3, so certainly knows how to get around Richmond Raceway. Seems like he's on the good tire strategy right now, has worked his way up to 4th. I think that this 13 could be one to have a conversation with here at the end of this race.
And Noah Michalski continues his free fall back to 6th. Still doing the best of everybody who stayed out. Rob Hamp just a couple positions back. He's getting passed up now by Max Cost in a different paint scheme on that car. Used to seeing him in the 0 bar. He's running the Reese's Meow Mix, which is a different way to go. But didn't recognize him for a moment there. As side by side, Jordan Trask, Christopher Hodges trying to get into the top 10. And stuck behind the 18 machine of Rob Hamp, who's on those old tires.
And just as we were looking at all these battles, we actually had a change for the lead. It's Jared Skinner taking the lead away from Dakota Floyd. You mentioned Dakota kind of went with that odd strategy in a little bit. I mean, 2 tires to only gain 1 spot. Not exactly sure I would have done the same thing, but it looks like maybe that is starting to bite him now amongst everybody else who had taken 4 tires. Jared Skinner gets the race lead. Here comes the 51 of Morgan Cook to his inside. So yeah, I'm still scratching my head a little bit on that call, but he's running his race, and we won't, I guess, judge him too hard until we see the result. He is a championship points leader for a reason, has had a phenomenal season, so maybe he knows something we don't.
Yeah, and I don't know if... Oh, Morgan Cook goes for a big slide on entry. That's a big challenge with this track, getting down on the brakes. And I've seen so many cars wreck here. Getting down in the corners, Caleb Weekly trying to get around. Slams it in the outside wall.
Yeah, hard to see how bad a contact that really was. Sometimes iRacing can make impacts with the wall look worse than what they really are. See if we can get a shot here of Caleb Weekly's
actually looks
right side of the car.
Yeah, it looks totally fine.
Pretty clean, so he might be okay, but man, big slide there for Morgan Cook. Those tires got to be screaming now. This will be a good opportunity for Caleb Weekly to try to crack into the top 3 for the first time tonight. As you can see, he's got really good drive off corner exit here. We'll see if he maybe peeks down into turn 1. He won't this time, but certainly looking like a little bit better handling race car, at least at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting the kind of loose under braking that you can experience here at this track. There's only a couple that I think of, that you get that kind of handling characteristic. It's Martinsville and it's Richmond, and maybe some other really small short tracks where you're getting hard on the brakes. But this one has always been kind of a trouble track for drivers getting down into turn number 1, especially. It can be really tough. You'll see some of the best just get on the brakes a little bit too hard and the back end slip out.
Yeah, it's a very fine line, and you'll see a lot of the drivers kind of play with that brake bias because they're struggling with corner entry, and usually it's not they're tight on corner entry. A lot of times it's like you said, the back end stepping out, getting loose, and so some of the drivers, they can handle that and they can kind of drive it off the right rear throughout the corner, but you don't want to step it out too much because then you're just sliding the tires and you're gonna have really bad tire wear. But yeah, that is something that's pretty unique to Richmond Raceway. You know, we talk about similarities to Iowa Speedway. You know, race is completely different. Those long sweeping corners, you're really not using a ton of brake at Iowa. At Richmond, both ends of the racetrack, you are using that brake pedal. And Jordan Trask all out of shape there as he wheels it off of turn 2 and sends it off into turn 3. Christopher Hodges just behind him in that 15 car.
Yeah, the 79 making a pass, trying to move forward after the pit cycle set him back a few positions, but up one spot from where he started, and one of the chase drivers as well. So trying to get as many points as he possibly can here tonight. Battling further back, Noah Michalski. He's fallen all the way back to 12th and slipping up the track underneath Tim Shanoski. And not able to get back alongside there, but this may be about as far as he falls, but he is 6 seconds back from the leaders already in just about 15-16 laps on this run.
Yeah, that's a lot, and it's probably not going to get any better as now you see him trying to utilize a different lane, which Richmond over the years has actually become a pretty decently multi-groove track. Maybe not so much in turns 1 and 2. I feel like you still see most of the guys elect to wrap the bottom down there. I've seen it done in turns 1 and 2, but not really something I've always liked to do. But 3 and 4, middle of the racetrack there, you can really make some big ground there and get some big runs off the corner. But it looks like Noah Michalski, he's using all of the racetrack. He is pretty much going absolutely up to the fence, which is not something we see a lot at Richmond, but trying to just keep those leaders in sight, or at least not fall too back to where he's at, you know, a threat of getting lapped, because if you get lapped, that's going to be really tough to come back from. If these guys are able to catch a caution and get back on the same tire strategy, they'll be in a good spot because they will have an extra set to the end, which that could be a big factor as we get down to the closing laps of this race.
And he's making pretty decent lap time. That time only 8 1/1000ths of a second slower than your race leader. So he's finding speed up on the top. So that's a good sign that he's not really going to lose too much, but he is going to burn the right sides up here if he continues to use that lane. I think back to the battle, I think it was Jimmy Johnson versus Tony Stewart, possibly, here at this track, where Tony was using the top side, and I think Jimmy was kind of running the more traditional line, or maybe it was vice versa, but that was one of those instances. That top lane was pretty effective, and the next gen car in the newer races, like you said, it's definitely a viable option to go up there. As we take a look back at the front of the field, Jared Skinner is pulled out by almost a second over Dakota Floyd, who's been able to maintain in that second place. Morgan Cook holding off Caleb Weekly has gotten his car back underneath him. Stephen Davis rounding out the top 5, having a good strong run here. 7 positions gained for the driver of the number 60.
Yeah, certainly looking good out there, and what a good looking paint scheme too, with that Rusty Wallace kind of looking paint scheme. And Rusty Wallace, a short track guy, had some success here at Richmond. Also, I believe the founder of Iowa Speedway, or at least the owner of it, came up with the idea to build a racetrack that was similar to Richmond, but he wanted it to be better yet. And now Iowa Speedway actually proclaims itself as the fastest short track. So it is under a mile, and not to be confused with the world's fastest half mile. We always know that's Bristol, but the fastest short track that is under a mile. We don't quite see the speeds here at Richmond that we do at Iowa. But in my opinion, I think, you know, sometimes this racing can be just as good, if not better. Just such a technical racetrack. The way you can approach the corners to try to get your car to rotate, especially as these tires wear. Once these tires really start falling off, this is a really fun racetrack to drive. And right now, somebody's doing a good job with the fall off is Noah. 20 laps on the tires, and he's hanging on to the top 15 right now, which I did not think was going to happen. So props to him for staying in it, and I know he's going to hopefully catch a caution here soon is what he's hoping for.
A bit of a three-way battle going on just outside the top 10. Bryce Shoemaker, Rob Hamp, Matt Shanoski all fighting for positions here. Pretty close to each other. 18 gets a little bit of a slide on turn entry. This is all happening about 2.5 seconds back of Noah Michalski, you just mentioned. And his lap time's pretty solid, pretty comparable to the race leader. So yeah, Noah doing a good job at this point in the run to kind of keep things close, as close as possible, that is, to the rest of the top 10. And no battles to speak of side by side at the moment, but pretty close up here. Ben Laughter, Stephen Davis, the 64 having a solid run up 2 positions as well. After getting into the 24 of Austin Belkey earlier on in this one, he's able to get through the ultimate final crash and continued on his way, trying to get up in the top 5.
And man, just behind there, Jordan Trass is struggling to get the power down. I don't know if we can ride on board with him here for a few laps so we can show you just how difficult this place is to drive, especially when those tires start to fall off. After about 15-20 laps into a run, they really start to hit a cliff, and I'm seeing him sideways on corner exit a lot, so a little bit smoother that time around. But this just shows you, although the speeds might not be all that high, this is a difficult racetrack to get around and a difficult racetrack to get the power down on corner exit. You can see the cars in front of him there also struggling a little bit. Max Cost and the Reese's Meow Mix machine, is that right?
Yeah.
I know he broke that scheme out, I believe, last race at Las Vegas. Had a great run. I think he finished in the top 5, maybe top 3. He was having a great run. I think he faded a little bit late, but he was up in that top 5 all night long. So maybe this paint scheme starting to bring Max some good fortune. And I made the comment last week that I thought there was some Meow Mix falling out the back end of that car. I didn't know if Max had his cats on board with him tonight or not, but certainly having another solid top 10 run and looking for more here as he's trying to chase down that 64 Ben Laughter.
A good solid run so far for Max Cost, up 3 positions. Christopher Hodge is your biggest mover inside the top 10. He's up 12 positions now, up to 9th. John Sanu rounding out that top 10 behind him. And they've got a little distance back to Tim Shinofsky. Interesting to see how things have settled out, but how about Dakota Floyd starting to reel in the 7 once again? And he's using a little different line than Jared Skinner in front.
Yeah, and I, made the comment that maybe he knew something that we didn't when he elected to take those 2 tires that you mentioned. So thought that was kind of an odd call there. But he since faded a little bit, and now he is coming right back up into the picture. So maybe he had been taking care of his stuff a little bit. Maybe it's a balance thing where he thought maybe the car was just a little bit too on edge, a little bit too loose, and maybe putting 2 tires on it would change the balance to his liking. But so far he's ran the leader down here. But we always say every single week, it's one thing to catch somebody, it's another to pass them. But we have seen Dakota Floyd pass a lot of cars this season. He is the championship points leader after all, and has a lot of race wins to his name, I believe 5 to be exact. So looking for number 6 tonight.
And he's doing an excellent job on those old left sides as we are getting close to the halfway point in this race. The battle for the lead starting to develop once again, and Morgan Cook about 1.3 seconds behind what's going on right here, and still looking at battles just inside the top 10. Max Cost not far behind Jordan Trass, Ben Laughter, all those guys relatively close together. And I'm also seeing Noah Mahalski maybe putting some pressure on Tim Shinofsky, and now using the outside lane in 1 and 2. Like you said, not as common to use it on that end of the track, but got a great run that time onto the backstretch. And he'll try it again on this side. And the back end of that car starting to slide out from underneath. And these guys haven't really lost much time. They've kind of stabilized here, about 6.5 seconds or so off of Jared Skinner. So maybe that means Jared Skinner's just falling back to the rest of the field as Dakota Floyd is caught up to him. And now going to look down to the inside into turn number 1.
Yeah, we'll see how much of a fight that Jared Skinner in that 7 can put up here. We know once Dakota Floyd, gets the tire wear where he wants it, and at a part of the race where he's comfortable with the tire wear, he could be very tough to beat here. So it looks like he has done that just again. Really saved his tires very well as they're side by side here going down the front straightaway. It's tough to complete a pass though here at Richmond. I know just a few weeks ago when the SNR Cup Series was here, I remember battling with Bailey Turner here, and it seemed like we were side by side forever. Nobody could really gain an inch. So A lot of side-by-side racing here just because it can be so hard to pass.
We got the lap machine of Tad Dabney right in front of this, and we'll see where he goes. He's going to go to the wall and get completely out of the way. So not going to be as big a factor there, but might have slowed up Jared Skinner just enough, as Dakota Floyd with a little advantage now. Here comes a 7 powering back along the outside. Out of turn number 4, it's still pretty much dead even, and Dakota Floyd not able to get the power down that time. Good run from Skinner. He's going to complete the pass and get back to the lead, but Dakota Floyd is right there knocking on the door. Might just need to figure out a way to get to the outside instead of the inside, as Dabney, big slide on the backstretch, able to collect it. And here comes Morgan Cook, going to try and navigate his way around that. It's Dabney really struggling with the handling here late in this run.
Yeah, I don't know if he was one of those cars that maybe stayed out as well. It might be on an older set of tires, but yeah, certainly struggling really badly here as he's starting to drop through the leaders here, going a lap down. Courteous of him, though, to get out of the way for the racing leaders and kind of yield to them and not disturb the race or the race lead, as Caleb Weekly gets on through now. And for some of these guys, you got to start thinking about when you're going to make that pit stop. So when we went back green, I think it was around lap 20, a little bit after. That's still not, we're not able to go green to the end from there on a tank of fuel. So whether the caution comes out or we go green and we have green flag pit stops, that's where, that's going to be a big factor of this race. Who can get on and off pit lane and who can have the right strategy. I mean, ideally for the guys that did stay out, like Mahalski and Bryce Shoemaker and maybe some others, they don't want to see the cycle of green flags stops start to happen, because if that's the case, look how far back they are already.
Yeah.
They really need a caution to happen prior to that to really get back into the conversation.
Well, Noah Mahalski has brought it down pit lane. It's been about 3 laps since he was on pit lane, and now looking at lap times, he's about 1.25 seconds faster than Jared Skinner and these leaders. So he's making up time that he had lost. It'll be interesting to see when things cycle out. He'll again be at a tire deficit, but he's probably now hoping that at the very least he can get into the lucky dog spot, and he is just about 8.5 seconds behind Tad Dabney, who's in that spot. So definitely risking it all here on this strategy, as now we've got the 54 Bryce Shoemaker, another driver who had not brought it in yet. He's going to bring it down 71 laps into the run, so might be getting pretty close on fuel at that point, and he'll go a lap down. We'll see who else is yet to bring it in. That is going to be Rob Hamp, who's in 13th, battling with Noah Mahalski, who's going to go on by. And here comes Hamp, or almost attempted to get on the pit lane right there. You could see he was going to miss it and reacted, stayed on the racetrack. And he'll probably bring it in this next time around. He'll be the last driver to have stayed out to pit here, as Morgan Cook is bringing it in as well. So he'll be the first of the leaders and start that pit cycle. This is a bit of a risk, but coming into this race second in points, and Dakota Floyd right there knocking on a win in this one. I think he's trying something out of the box.
Sometimes you have to do that if you're going to try to outpoint the championship points leader. So doing the same thing, you're probably not going to gain much on them. And obviously Dakota and Jared had kind of driven away. They're kind of in a battle of their own right now, so can't fault Morgan at all for trying to get on a different strategy. The big question is now, does that force the hand of these guys, the race leaders, or are they going to try to go a little bit further and have the fresher tires for the end? Not a ton of laps remaining here. So a lot of times the overcut going long on a set of tires isn't always the call on a short track, because a lot of times you just don't have enough time to really make it all up. So I do like the call by some of these guys to go ahead and bring it in, get on those fresh set of tires, try to start making up some time.
Yeah, as Rob Hamp brought it in, he's back on the racetrack, and the way that Morgan Cook cycled out, he's about 3 seconds behind Noah Mahalski. So Noah able to make up essentially about 7 or 8 seconds on the 51 and get by. And we have a few other drivers bringing it in. Caleb Weekly has brought it down. There's a couple other guys on pit lane right now. Stephen Davis, Ben Laughter, Christopher Hodges, John Sanu. All of those drivers bringing it in. So the pit cycle is starting. Here comes Dakota Floyd from second place. Going to bring it down, and See how this works out for him. He'll probably elect to take 4 tires this time unless he's feeling really confident that 2 tires and really old left sides will work for him. And the 15 car going to be right alongside down pit road. Ben Laughter, it is a busy place here on pit lane. Dakota Floyd able to navigate that, get onto or into his box. Here comes the race leader. It looks like Jordan Trask going to stay out and lead a lap. Max Cost also going to stay out. And a few others still yet to pit in this one. We're going to go side by side to hear a word from our sponsors here with under 50 laps to go. We'll see how this all shakes out.
Takes the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's gonna get through it all and score his first career win. Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Back trackside here at Richmond. The battle for the lead is on. Morgan Cook has tracked down Noah Mahalski from a few seconds back. And these guys going to battle for that top spot. Maybe a little contact, a little nudge out of the way. Mahalski up the track. And Morgan Cook going to try and work his way alongside. There is Dakota Floyd on 4 or 5 lap fresher tires than the 51. Starting to track these guys down as well. He is flying around here. About a half second a lap faster as these two battle.
Can't just believe that Noah Mahalski's even up here right now battling for the top spot. I mean, when he had stayed out and that green flag pit cycle had started, he was 6 to 8 seconds behind the leaders. So obviously it's going to be near impossible to hold these guys off. But man, what a net gain. Must have really hit his pit stop super well, because now, you know, he's in a pretty solid spot. He is going to probably drop through the order here as this run continues, but relative to where he was running, this is a big win. And here comes the 57 of Dakota Floyd, who actually was able to get around Jared Skinner for the top spot just before or just after that pit stop. So came 1 lap sooner, and that's the difference on track. He's got a couple of car lengths here on the number 7 of Jared Skinner, but obviously 2 very fast drivers and quite a few laps to go yet. I'm sure that the battle is going to heat up again, and this 7 will be right back in the conversation.
Yeah, Dakota Floyd's going to have to find his way past Morgan Cook, the top 2 in the championship, now battling in the top 2. And Wow, Morgan shut the door right there. He's struggling though. Big slide in the middle of the turn. And side by side off of turn 4. Dakota Floyd is there, and he is looking for the lead once again. Morgan Cook driving it really hard, sends it in deep, and again, sort of wheel hopping there down into the turn. Able to keep it underneath him, but Noah Michalski's going to be able to get alongside now, and that may be just enough breathing room for Dakota Floyd to run and hide.
Yeah, now Jared Skinner, he's got to get around both these guys really quick. As he's loose on corner exit, slides the rear tires, and going to lose a little bit of track position there. As Caleb Weekly now just behind, as he had a very good pit cycle sequence too. See if he can get around these guys, but
Noah Michalski just made
these cars.
Yeah, big contact right there with the right rear off turn 2. He's on older tires than these guys by 10 to 15 laps, depending on which driver you're talking about. But the 03, yeah, he's at a disadvantage, that's for sure. He's pushing that car really hard.
Yeah, and you can see the hands through the windshield there of him working that car all the way through the center of the corner. He has an absolute handful right now, and he is using every inch of this racetrack. And for being on that big of a tire disadvantage, I mean, you got to tip your hat to him that he's even battling up here in the top 5. This is crazy. So doing a fantastic job as Jared Skinner's going to finally clear him, and that moves him up to 3rd. But during all that battling, lost a lot of time to race leader there, Dakota Floyd. And if you give him a big lead, a lot of times you don't get it back. So we'll have to see how much are these guys willing to push it to try to get back up there to the 57.
Definitely interesting to see the parallel storylines and kind of the parallel tracks that we're experiencing here tonight. The Challenger Series at Richmond, and Dakota Floyd, the man to beat with a good points lead coming in, and we'll go to Iowa tonight. In the Cup Series, you've got Bailey Turner, who's got a lot of wins on the season, usually the man to beat over there on a weekly basis, but it's going to be interesting to see if we have similar types of races. They are different tracks, that's for sure. Similar shape, but going to be interesting to see how that one shakes out as well. I love both of these tracks. And so far, this one's been a good clean race. We had the one caution, but definitely been a good performance out here by these guys in the Challenger Series tonight.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch these guys try and work different grooves. We've seen Noah Michalski go all the way up as far as, inches off the wall, which you very rarely see that at a short track. You're seeing some of the guys do a really good job painting that white line, or that yellow line, I guess, rather, and trying to wrap the bottom, try to save the tires. So it's just, that's what makes Richmond fun, is it gives these drivers options to go where they're not. And we're seeing a lot of good racing here. And right now it looks like Dakota Floyd's kind of checking out, but still all through this pack, seeing a lot of good racing.
Yeah, you saw a lot of battles right here. The 29 kind of in the mix of all of this still. One lap down being Judson Curtis. The 15 of Christopher Hodges and Jordan Trask fighting for positions at the back of the top 10. And a little bit of contact there for Hodges. And there goes Trask, going to go on through. Max Cost maybe going to look to follow him, as he's right now riding in the 11th spot. Was up there in about 7th or 8th before the pit cycle started, but pit a bit later than most of these drivers, so trying to make up that time that he lost. A little door bang in there off turn 4 between the 15 and the 29. That'll help Max close the distance just a little bit more into turn number 1. So that's probably your closest battles, other than up here for second. Jared Skinner, Morgan Cook, nose to tail. And we'll see if Jared is able to close that distance back up. Sends it way down there into turn number 1. Got the back end all upset. And able to complete the pass. And Morgan Cook going to give him that space. But you can see these guys are really yawing out the rear end, getting down into the corner. And they're able to hang on to it for the most part. Only a few instances where we've seen drivers really see the tail kick out.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are struggling to get the power down. The car is definitely stepping out in the corners, and that makes just for some really fun racing behind the wheel, to be able to wheel that race car like that. Now that Jared Skinner has moved up to the 2nd place position, it's a long road up ahead to Dakota Floyd. You got 25 laps to try and run him down, and we know that Jared's got the speed to do it. We saw him get out front and lead a handful of laps, but I'm just not so sure that 25 laps or under 25 laps now is going to be enough time. I think he might be able to start kind of cutting into that lead, but I feel like if anybody's going to challenge Dakota Floyd here, I feel like this race kind of needs to get turned on its head.
Yeah, he's definitely put himself in the best position possible with essentially equal tires to everybody behind him. Only drivers on much fresher rubber are Jordan Trask, who's back in 8th and 7.7 seconds back, so he's not really a threat to get up there, maybe a threat to get in the top 5. But nobody else really with much fresher tires to compete with Dakota Floyd, and he's got, like you said, a 2-second gap, which feels like miles on a track like this.
It does, and most of these drivers, well, everybody has at least one set left. So if we were to catch a caution, you would see everybody pit. And then there's a handful of drivers that still got 2 sets up on the wall. Those guys that didn't pit that first go around. So I believe that is Mahalski, Shoemaker,
Rob
Hamp maybe is another one. So those guys, at this point in the race, you can see that the strategy hasn't worked out. Hamp currently running 13th, 15 seconds behind. Shoemaker running 15th, 15 seconds behind as well. So that's what these races come down to sometimes, is a little bit of a luck of the draw with the strategy. Sometimes you never really know what the right decision is, and you kind of have to take a gamble and kind of just hope more cars choose your strategy than not. And looks like it hasn't really worked out for him. But despite all of that, how is Noah Mahalski even running in the top 5 right now? That is absolutely crazy. Props to him. What a great run. Usually when you get stuck on the opposite side of a strategy like that, your night is over. He's here in the top 5, and he's actually working on Caleb Weekly here for the 4th position.
Yeah, using that top lane once again. He's got 18 laps to try and get back by the 13 machine. These guys pretty equal in terms of lap time. The top 2 kind of in a class of their own right now. Pulling away, Morgan Cook has started to fall back from the 7 of Jared Skinner. May even start to fall back into the clutches of these two. We'll see how things shake out. Could be a battle to get onto the podium. As we look further back, Max Cost, Christopher Hodges still battling 10th and 11th. John Sanu a little ways up the road from them with Stephen Davis and Jordan Trask. All those guys battling for positions inside the top 10. Trask, who's on the fresher tires, trying to get up there, maybe get a top 5 before it's all said and done, but has not had great long run speed from what we've seen, but now able to work by a couple of lap cars, making contact with the wall of Tad Dabney, the one machine of Hunter Sr., who we saw get turned around on the backstretch as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned Trask running some good lap times back there, and 7 seconds behind the leaders. I think he can maybe get one more. He might be able to get Ben Lafter here. I guess possibly he could go up and get 5th or 4th from Mahalski and Weekly, but I think the battle for the race win for him is probably out of the conversation. I think he just went too long on that stint, but I think he had to try something different, right? That would put him in position. If the caution comes out at the right time, he could assume the lead, and then it's a brand new race from there. Elected, I think, pretty much to run that fuel tank out. So now he's just trying to kind of pick up the pieces here of what's left in this race and maybe grab a few more positions.
As he works to the inside of Ben Lafter off of turn number 2, not able to complete the pass. Lafter powers around the outside, and this looks like he might be able to kind of not a slide job exactly, but sent it really deep into turn 3, and he will complete that pass. Jordan Trask up to 6th. John Sanu putting pressure on Stephen Davis back here. It's 8th and 9th on the track. Great thing about short tracks, you almost always have a battle somewhere. This being one of the bigger short tracks, is they nearly make a little contact. The 86 and the 60, everybody still going the right way. Sanu looking to the inside, down into turn 1.
Yeah, and both great runs for both these guys. I mean, these guys started outside the top 10, raced their way into the top 10, and now they're going to door touch just a little bit there on corner exit. Both guys trying to get all they can. Looks like Stephen Davis might be in the preferred spot. He's got the upper groove here. He may be able to get a better drive off, but no, John Sanu's going to stay with him for a minute, but slides the tires, and that's so easy to do there on the bottom of the racetrack, is slide those rears and you're pretty much done. But one battle I just can't stop looking at is Mahalski and Caleb Weekly. I mean, they've been going at it. They're a little bit separated now, but man, Mahalski was really pushing that top line as hard as he could, and these guys are both on just a razor's edge, wheeling their race cars. Looks like Mahalski, that might be all he has in the tank for it now. I think those tires are finally giving up. Caleb Weekly is now starting to put a bit of a gap on him. Just behind Mahalski, though, Jordan Trask, only about a second behind. So realistically, Jordan could get another spot here from Mahalski and salvage a top 5 for the day. Wouldn't be a bad night at all, despite where he had kind of started and where he was running. So that would be a win for him. But really, the second half of this race, ever since that pit stop, it's been all Dakota Floyd. He got the lead when he pit 1 lap sooner than Jared Skinner, who was leading before that. And he's really never looked back. So he was just able to get through traffic really well. And now that gap is 3 seconds back to second place. So
Yeah.
Dakota Floyd just putting on an absolute clinic tonight.
As changing position number 8, John Sanu takes that away from Stefan Davis. We'll see if he's able to fight back down low. Not going to be able to do it this time. Further back, Matt Shanowski, Bryce Shoemaker also battling 14th and 15th. And up here at the front, Mahalski still just a few car lengths. Got a nice run, and big bobble by Weekly could be a shot to get down to the inside here. And actually, he's going to stick to his outside groove. 13 of Caleb Weekly still sticking to the bottom lane, but here comes Mahalski. Big run, and Caleb Weekly, big slide.
Yeah, Mahalski's going to get the position on him here. We'll see if he can hold it. He's almost in the fence. He's going to try to drive it off the top side of the racetrack, get a big run down the front straightaway. I think he's going to clear him this time, move Mahalski up to the 4th spot. And now Caleb Weekly under pressure from that 79 of Jordan Trask.
Yeah, so the fresher tires definitely working out for Jordan Trask. He's gained time on the leaders. He's gained time on these guys. He's gained track position overall. So this was definitely the right move from where he was running. This is probably the highest he's been all night. Gets into the top 5 now with just 6 laps to go. And Caleb Weekly just stick right to the back bumper as Mahalski catches the wall. All kinds of action here just around the top 5.
It's just crazy to see all the different lines. You see Mahalski running the Larson or Reddick line or whatever you want to call it. And we see Jordan Trask now go up to the top. Caleb's been staying pretty committed to the bottom. But, you know, for a short track, you know, this is one of the, you know, I would say the raciest short track, if you will, and just in terms of lanes on the racetrack. I mean, Iowa might be a little bit wider and you can carry more speed, but man, once the tires wear at this racetrack, it is a fun place to drive, but it is a maybe even more fun place to watch a race. These guys are certainly putting on a show.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen the top line be as effective as it has been here tonight, but these guys obviously making it work. Noah Mahalski has been a master of that here on the old tires. Has been competitive with the leader in terms of lap times for a lot of this race, even on much older tires. Look at Jordan Trask, though. He might try a little bit of a short track move, gets to the back bumper. Not going to knock him out of the way yet, but definitely a big tire advantage between these two. This is nearly 20 lap difference. So it should work out in the favor of the 79, but Noah Mahalski's been super strong all race long on the old tires. As coming back to 2 laps to go, Dakota Floyd well out in front, 4 seconds up the road. We'll keep an eye on the battle here for 4th as Jordan Trask now works to the inside. This is the battle to watch for sure. He's going to send it in deep. Not able to complete the pass, though. Here comes Mahalski, wound up on the top side. Gonna keep it up there. Trask trying what he's done so far on other drivers. Able to squeeze it just in front. No, there goes the 03 back around the outside. Dakota Floyd, white flag in the air. Last time around for the 5-time winner this season, looking for his 6th. And big slide there for Jordan Trask. Dakota Floyd, though, off turn 4. He is going to take the win at Richmond and sweep the first 2 races of the chase. And how about Noah Mahalski still fighting that thing, gets it across the line in 4th. What a battle in those final few laps for him to come home in that spot. We've got a battle further back. Bryce Shoemaker, Matt Shanoski. It was a little closer getting into turn 3. And Shoemaker not able to do it. He'll spin it out across the stripe there to wrap things up for the drivers on the lead lap. How about Dakota Floyd, though? Your race winner here tonight. Started in 4th, got the lead in the second half of this race and really never looked back. 41 laps led, dominating performance by the 5-time, now 6-time winner here in the Challenger Series.
Yeah, and 3 in a row in that. So peaking at the right time. Won round 1 of the chase at Las Vegas just 2 weeks ago. You know, didn't lose any speed over the Memorial Day weekend break as he returns to Richmond and goes out and wins here for the 6th time this season. 3 in a row for Dakota Floyd. This championship battle is going to be getting a little bit out of reach, I would have to say, for a lot of these guys with the pace that Dakota has right now. But Dakota Floyd, race winner from Richmond.
What an amazing race for the 57. We're going to go to a quick commercial break and be back with the top 3 drivers for post-race interviews.
Takes the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's gonna get through it all and score his first career win. Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back at the racetrack here, Richmond Raceway, after race number 2 of the S&R Challenger Series chase for the championship has concluded. Let's take a look at tonight's results from Richmond. Dakota Floyd getting his 6th win of the season. Jared Skinner, nice run for him, comes home in the second spot. Morgan Cook going to round out your podium in third place. Noah Mahalski with an impressive run on the old tires comes home in fourth. Jordan Trask battled him hard there in the closing moments, finishes fifth. Caleb Weekly going to come home in the sixth position. In seventh tonight, Ben Laughter. Eighth, John Sanu. Ninth was Stephen Davis, and Christopher Hodges going to round out the top 10.
In 11th tonight, it's Max Cost as he falls back one position from his starting spot. Tim Shanofsky works his way up to 12th after starting 18th. Rob Hamp, a bit of an eventful night. He settles for 13th. Matt Shanofsky will finish 14th. Bryce Shoemaker, one of those drivers that stayed out on the initial caution, didn't quite have the race go to plan, falls back to 15th. Hunter Sr. got in some trouble early, finishes a lap down, as does Judson Curtis, finishing in 17th. Keith Shoemaker 18th, Tad Dabney 19th, and Philip Brewer rounding out our top 20. And then final two cars of the night that got involved in some big crashes, Brandon Wallace being one of them. Race-ending damage for him, and also for Austin Belke, finishing in 22nd.
We're now down to our third place finisher here tonight, and that is Mr. Morgan Cook. Morgan, this is Adam and Jeff in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, Morgan, it was an interesting race for you here tonight. You took the pole in it, and you led a few laps early on. We saw a couple of close calls with the back end slipping out, but battled the car, came home with the top three finish. Just describe tonight's race.
Yeah, it was a slugfest. I drove the wheels off of this thing tonight. I only had to beat one driver, and it was the 57. And trying everything I had everything in my toolbox to try and beat him, and came up short every way. He was able to block every punch, so to speak. And yeah, so all in all, the day, if the goal is to beat the 57, was a failure, but finishing third still is a positive. This is a tough league to race in, and had a lot of speed tonight.
Yeah, and definitely still a great performance from you, leading laps, coming home in the top 5 here. And we go to Kansas next week, much different racetrack than the short track here at Richmond. How do you feel about going out there?
Much better. Richmond's probably my worst racetrack, and I think Kansas, as Jeff can probably attest to, is one of my better racetracks. So we'll see if we can maybe scratch one across next week. But this points gap is getting out of hand. 26 points up to Dakota is gonna be tough to whittle down in 3 races.
Yeah, definitely a tall order to get up there and battle the guy who's really been dominating a lot of this season. But you're right there, still keeping things as close as you can, and put on a good show for us here tonight. Yeah, just a few more races yet to try and whittle that down. So we'll see if you're able to do it. But third place, anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course, got to thank V-Speed. Everything you guys have done for me, yourself, Adam, and Bradley, and Eddie, and everyone else there has given me an opportunity to do this fun, broadcasting thing that we do on a near nightly basis. It's been a lot of fun. Got to thank Jeff and all the admins here at SNR for giving us a place to race, and that's ruled fairly and is not favored. Like, there's no favoritism anywhere, which is really nice to see. So it's a lot of fun. I got to thank Aaron and Michelle, who are probably watching this at home. I thank the wife for letting me do this, and all the fans for watching, because we don't do this on V-Speed here without any of the fans. So I thank everyone, all the sponsors. The list goes on, but I think I'll cut it off there.
Awesome, Morgan. Well, thanks for chatting with us here post-race, and congrats on a top 3 finish. And we'll catch you next week at Kansas for the third race of the chase.
You bet. Thanks.
Thank you. That is your third place finisher, Morgan Cook. We'll now go to second place, and I believe you're with him, Jeff.
I am standing by Jared Skinner, second place tonight, and I know you probably wanted one spot better, and you certainly showed the speed for it. Take us through your race as a whole, and maybe the mindset. Once those cycle of pit stops started happening, did you kind of feel like we might be in trouble here? Dakota beat us to pit lane. What was going through your mind there? And yeah, just give us a brief overview of tonight. You certainly look very fast out there.
Yeah, I felt that, the pit stops, for sure, I was a little bit slow on the first green flag stop. When I saw Dakota come out on 2 tires, I was going to kind of see what that gamble was going to be all about. But I noticed that from the initial start of the race that I could roll the center of the corner of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 a little bit better than most of the guys in the top 5. And so I stuck to that as much as possible. And I was just talking to Dakota when he started catching me when I was in the lead and I saw him kind of start diamonding the corner on the exit, I started doing the same thing and figured out that that's probably about going to be the way to go with the rest of this race. But ultimately, that last stop is what got us. When I came out, I was behind Dakota. He got through some traffic that ended up holding me up, and just couldn't get back to him. It was a tough break, but still had a blast tonight.
Seems like you're obviously being a contender every single week now. I mean, I know you haven't been with us since the start of the season, kind of joining, halfway through. But man, looking at these results, Jared, I mean, you are right there every single week. This is your third straight top five. If you throw out Charlotte, I think you got in a bit of an incident there, but a fourth, a third, and now a second. And probably you'll look back on this one and maybe think about what could have been having that speed that you had there. But starting to think that maybe you wish that you were running the whole season here, because maybe you could have been a championship contender for this 57 of Dakota Floyd. But just all around great race, Jared. We go out to Kansas next week, 1.5 miles. How do you feel about this streak? I mean, the last 3 weeks you're getting one spot better. What do you say, go out and get a win at Kansas Speedway here in 1 week's time?
That's what I'm hoping for, man. Richmond was kind of one of my mediocre tracks. I've only ran it, this being the second time in any kind of race. And Kansas is one of my stronger tracks. These intermediate tracks are my better tracks. So I'm hoping that I can definitely get a win for sure.
Well, we'll certainly be looking forward to it next week. Real quick, though, before we let you go, anybody you want to thank or give a shout out to?
Yeah, absolutely. Want to thank everybody over at Juicy Spider Gaming, especially Nick Happyack for spotting for me, feeding me all the information, Josh as well, and then having Mike there for support. It just a great group of guys.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Jared, and we'll be looking for you out at Kansas Speedway next week.
Thanks, guys.
So that was Jared Skinner in the number 7 machine. Had the pace to potentially win if you throw out that last pit stop, as he heard that he said they had a little bit of trouble there, a little bit slow on the pit stop, but it was Dakota Floyd's day again as he gets win number 6 here in the SNR Challenger Series. Adam Baker standing by.
We're here in victory lane with Dakota Floyd for the 6th time this season. Dakota, wasn't all easy tonight. You tried some tire strategy and you ultimately able to leapfrog Jared Skinner there in the final pit cycle and take the lead away after getting by Morgan Cook and Noah Mahalski. Describe tonight's race, this green flag running here at Richmond and getting another victory.
It was, like you said, it wasn't easy. There was a lot of fast guys tonight, and I was really proud to see a lot of those guys running as hard as they were and doing good on the long run. I mean, that first run, I had nothing for him until I decided to finally find that top lane where it was pretty fast. So, yeah, it wasn't easy. And when I leapfrogged Jared, I thought for sure he'd come back to me, but he got stuck behind some of those guys that undercut. So I just kind of drove as hard as I could, make the gap, and thankfully he kept growing.
The 2-tire call there was, you were the only one to try that. And, how did that affect the handling of the car? And what was your mindset making that decision? Versus going 4 tires there?
Well, that first run, like I said, I was stuck behind those guys, and I really didn't have anything for him to get up to him. So I figured, why not leapfrog him? It wasn't wearing the lefts hardly at all, so I put the rights on, and it was honestly driving pretty stable. It honestly was probably driving a little better than it was on 4. And then that's when I decided to go to that high line because it was just driving so well off the middle down to the bottom. So I figured, why not? I don't want to be stuck behind and try to make these really hard passes. So it ended up working with those leapfrogs there.
Yeah, we weren't sure if it was gonna, shake out the way that you would want it to, but we said you were a 5-time winner already coming into this one, and obviously kind of knew what you were doing with the decision. So it did work out. You end up getting the lead away late in this one and taking the victory. Your 6th of the season now with a 26-point lead going into Kansas next week. How do you feel about going out there with just a few races left?
I'm feeling pretty good. As long as I keep the nose straight and stay out of trouble and don't finish, really poorly in the rest of the season, I think I've got a really solid chance to maintain it and go back to back here. So I'm just looking forward to some more clean racing next week in Kansas, and hope to see the best of the best out there and give it their all.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to see if you can go. It would be 4 wins in a row and the first 3 races of the Chase if you can get it done there at Kansas. But you win here tonight at Richmond, leading 41 laps after starting in that 4th spot. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for tonight's performance?
Yeah, first and foremost, got to shout out the teammates as always, Morgan and John. Morgan had a great finish in 3rd. I know he wanted his undercut to work a little better, but he still brought it home in 3rd and had a really good showing tonight. John kept the car clean and was able to finish the race in one piece, and I think he ended up at the top 10, so it's a really good finish for him. So I'm really proud of those guys. Shout out to Jared Skinner. He's been showing some real promise these last 2 weeks. So shout out to him for racing me clean and racing me hard. I mean, that's what I want out here. And even though he's not in the playoffs, he's giving it his all, and I really love to see that. And he's showing a lot of promise for next season. Shout out to the rest of the field. And we only won yellow at Richmond. That's really, really impressive. So thanks to everybody for a really clean race tonight, and thanks to the admins for making the hard calls that they have to make with the penalties that happen week in and week out. Without you guys, we don't really have a clean league to run in. And thank you guys in VSP Broadcast for always doing a great, fantastic show. It's always fun to go back and watch. And thank you to everyone that watches week in, week out and supports me.
Awesome, Dakota. Well, thanks for taking some time here post-race, and we'll see you in a few moments, I believe, at the Iowa Speedway. You're going to run in the Cup Series potentially, but definitely a great performance here. Congrats on the win, and go celebrate with your guys here.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. You too. That is Dakota Floyd, your race winner for the 6th time this season, burning it down here at Richmond Raceway. And Jeff, what a fun one here tonight. Like he said, just one caution all race long, and you don't see that all the time here at Richmond. It can be a caution fest sometimes, and these guys put on a great show for us.
Yeah, it can get messy at times. And also, tonight, I think what was the most interesting was just all the different lines these guys were running, differing tire strategies. Some guys going short, some guys electing to go, right with that halfway splitting point, and other guys trying to run it out. And at the end, they all come together. So it's just an interesting race to watch as a spectator. But one thing I will say we heard from the top 3 drivers is that they're all confident going to Kansas. And I think that means for us and all the viewers out there, we're going to have a pretty exciting show on V-Speed in 1 week's time. So can't wait to get out to Kansas. We'll have to see if anybody can challenge Dakota Floyd. He's certainly starting to kind of flex his muscles here in the Chase. And we give him too big of a cushion. I mean, it's 26 points right now, but you give him another win at Kansas, it might all be but over.
That may be the final nail in the coffin as he gets that 6th victory here, 2 in a row to open the Chase. And definitely going to be a tough competitor out there next week at Kansas. Make sure to tune in for that one next Saturday night right here on V-Speed, but stay around. We've got the Cup Series coming up from Iowa at 10 o'clock Eastern time, so make sure to tune in for that one. Jeff, you'll be on track. We'll be rooting for you. See if you can get a victory out there. I know you like that track quite a bit, and we'll see if you can make a charge towards the top of the championship standings here with just a few races left. But fun calling another one with you, and thanks so much everyone for tuning in. Check out the sponsors in the video description, and go support the people that help support the iRacing action you see here on V-Speed. So thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you very, very soon on track with the Cup Series coming up next.